So there's definitely been a Final Fantasy VII Remake theme to the channel at the moment. By that I mean 2 videos over a 6-month period. We've already taken detailed looks at both Cloud and Sephiroth, so it only seemed right to take a look at yet another one of the FF7 cast members. This is the first time I've ever looked at more than 2 characters from one series, and that really is a testament to how good the character designs in these games actually are, as well as an algorithm that seems to love repetitive themed content. Tifa Lockhart is up there as one of the most memorable characters from my gaming late childhood. Sure, this is partly down to the fact that I absolutely fancied the pants off her. She's technically my OG waifu, but at the same time, she played such an important part in FF7 plot-wise, and was a constant choice for me to have in my party because of her awesome fighting-based moveset. Up against a giant monster or robot, the Virgin Cloud needs a big-ass sword, while Chad Tifa straight up destroys with her bare hands. There's just no contest really. Tifa was always a character I remembered incorrectly, as I perceived her to be confident and outgoing to match with her character design. A recent playthrough of the game really highlighted how smooth my young brain was, as she couldn't be anything less like that. Tifa is a shy and empathetic character in contrast to what you might expect from her appearance, and you could probably take the traits you might have expected of her and apply them to Aerith instead, as she is far more confident in herself and flirty despite a more conservative appearance. Speaking of Aerith, let me know if you'd like to see an episode on her too down the line. Like Cloud and Sephiroth, Tifa was originally designed by Tetsuya Nomura, and her popularity would again lead her to appear in a majority of the same crossover and spin-off titles that I've already mentioned to death in my previous FF7 themed videos. I'm going to try to intentionally not retread ground that I covered in those previous episodes today, so if you notice any missing games, that's the exact reason why. Also, I probably just accidentally missed them. Regardless, Tifa, like all other characters in this video series, has definitely evolved. She's had subtle changes over the years, with some of them excelling far more than others. I'm going to start by working through some pivotal games from FF7 and its follow-up compilation, before heading into a general look at her appearances across a wide variety of spin-offs and side games. These are the best Tifa designs in my mind, and today I'll pick which one I think truly is best. As always, if you could like the video, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell, you'd be doing me a massive solid on my road to 20,000 subscribers. PS, big thanks to the people who comment to tell me they are shocked my subs are so low. Thanks for helping me push on to the next level. Let's show that algorithm who's boss. Tifa made her first appearance in, you've guessed it, Final Fantasy VII, establishing another look that would be synonymous with the game's memorability. Tetsuya Nomura's original artwork for Tifa established her key features that would define her for decades to come. The character had long dark hair, tied at the tip to resemble a dolphin tail split. She had long legs for days, with a black miniskirt, belt and suspenders. To go with the black, she had burgundy boots, gloves and hair ties, which just so happened to match her big bold eyes perfectly. Of course, she had a skimpy white tank top too, which, let's face it, likely defined half a globe's worth of teen gamers. Like Cloud and Sephiroth before, her battle model highlights this art in a semi-detailed format, with the overworld model doing it in a more basic sense. Though despite basic, the simple expressiveness of the overworld models did allow Tifa to go through a number of outfit changes to aid the game's story, with each new outfit clearly being recognisable as the same character. First off, we see this in the Don Corneo section of the first disc, with Tifa being presented as a choice of wife for the sleazebag. I know who I would have picked though, am I right? More notably, she appears in Flashbacks at Nibelheim with a cowgirl-inspired outfit, with the inclusion of a hat, shirt and differing boots. There's some great concept art of Tifa in this form available online, which really highlights the basis of these expressive, simple models. Try telling me that the Tifa vs Scarlet fight scene isn't the most epic action sequence in gaming. I dare you. FMV cutscenes for the character are a bit of a mixed bag for me. Some of them look great and pretty faithful to Nomura's original artwork, whereas others definitely put a wee bit too much emphasis on her chesticles and the jiggle physics. I'll let this tweet about the character's best designs by Lady Decade sum up this one. It's definitely hilarious looking back on this cutscene in 2020, and that totally isn't my way of justifying watching it over and over again. Seriously. Yoshitaka Amano's artwork for FF7 presented the character in a contrasting way to Nomura's cheerful and open original representation. with his Tifa looking much more stern-faced with closed-off body language. His Tifa is littered with red in the form of her lipstick, gloves and skirt, and her hair is a huge opposite, long and white. This looks so wrong to me. I wouldn't necessarily say that the colours of the clothing or hair are 100% how Amano envisions Tifa. It's clearly a stylistic interpretation and is consistent with his other artwork of Final Fantasy heroines in general. And while this is a jarringly different look, it's undeniably a beautiful bit of artwork, painting Tifa in a very different light. Following up the first game was 2005's Advent Children, the movie which continued the story of the original game. In the past, I've mentioned how this changed up Cloud's design and gave us a relatively faithful Sephiroth that upgraded the character's outfit into a much more realistic style. While features like Cloud's hair had to be changed up drastically with the shift in art style, Tifa's was realistically portrayed well, though it was no longer tied up and was a little bit shorter in length. I think this was a pretty smart change, as her action scenes look incredible with her free-flowing hair. It's much more cinematic and interesting to look at, and alongside the drastic improvement in graphic style, makes her fight moves stand apart from the original FF7. The practicality of fighting seems to be at the basis of this Tifa design, as her outfit has seen a considerable change from the original game. Tifa now wears a white tank top underneath a black leather suit, which is made up of a zip-up vest with black shorts and a duster that trails off the back. Her gloves have been scaled down and she wears a pink band on her arm in remembrance of Aerith. Tin foil hat time. There isn't any official reasoning behind this design change as far as I can find, but I think Square Enix probably realised post FF7 that their original FMV portrayals of the character had helped spawn an entire continent's worth of lewd content containing the character, and their previous look would be pretty much impossible to portray in cinematic fashion without there being wardrobe malfunctions of the highest quality. Given that Cloud underwent a change too, I had no problem with this design change, and to be completely honest, I think it's easily in her top 3 designs for me. It's a great update to her old outfit while still being completely recognisable. Facially, I think this is an incredible upgrade to the original artwork by Nomura. I had no problem processing this design as Tifa, and could easily get behind this realistic portrayal of the character. Outside of the movie, another special came with a compilation in the form of Final Fantasy VII Last Order. This 25-minute short anime special focused on the Nibelheim flashback from FF7 and depicted all of the characters in very authentic fashion. The special was developed by Madhouse, and the character designs that appeared throughout are similar to designs that would appear in other video game adaptations by the studio, such as the Devil May Cry anime. In regards to Tifa herself, this is a much more detailed look at her classic cowboy shirt, hat and boots on a larger scale. Crisis Core followed, arriving towards the end of the compilation with the 2007 PSP prequel, again focusing on these flashback events once more. This time around with significant new detail. Cowgirl Tifa's design is changed up ever so slightly this time around. The shirt is now accompanied by a button-up corset, additional tassels, and a brand new belt to go with the rest of the outfit. They aren't the biggest changes in the world, but they do make the outfit look considerably more different from Tifa's default design. I guess in the original they were kind of limited with what they could do, and opted to shove a hat and a shirt over the top of her pre-existing model. Before heading into a quick rundown of other spin-offs and side games, I definitely want to make sure that I dedicate a significant portion of this video to running down Tifa's designs across the Dissidia games, as I think that the designs in this series of fighting games was done particularly well. She would make her first appearance as a playable character in Dissidia 012, the second game in the series, releasing in 2011, and would reappear in Dissidia NT, which followed in 2015. The updated Nomura artwork for the game displayed Tifa in a very similar way to her original appearance, though the evolution of his art style is made apparent when these two designs are compared. Tifa's original outfit is identical, but she is taller with a form factor that is a bit more realistic. In 012, this art is reflected very well with her in-game model, which looks exactly how you'd likely expect this character to look, in a slightly upgraded format from the original PlayStation model. As well as this original appearance, she also had a cowgirl outfit, though this straight up looks exactly the same as it did in Crisis Core. Dissidia NT is where I feel they really knocked it out of the park with this design, breaking into HD and turning this artwork into the most realistic version of the character since Advent Children. Her render from this design highlights the original artwork's pose in a modernised and faithful adaptation. This is exactly what I imagined Tifa would look like in a more realistic depiction of her FF7 attire. This is perhaps best highlighted in her character trailer, which shows off some remade iconic shots from the original FF7. As well as this costume, her Advent Children leather suit and amended hairstyle make it into the game as another alt, and it looks like it walked straight out of the movie and into this game. It's great to see both of these outfits based off of the same model, as it ties together the two designs, which some may have found to be too much of a drastic change between them. Both games also featured an unlockable outfit for the character based off of Amano's stylistic Tifa artwork. Though it doesn't incorporate the change in hair colour, it does feature an amended red outfit. It's strange to me that this didn't factor into her original game costume, considering the Amano influence of Sephiroth's initial appearance. Outside of Dissidia, Tifa's appeared in a long list of spin-offs and side games. I'm going to speed on through the ones that I think are most notable. Guys makes its third appearance in the Best Character Design series, as it shows off more solid artwork for Tifa, as well as an impressive, for the time, 3D model. I'd go as far as saying she actually looks a bit better than Cloud and Sephiroth in-game from the same title. Kingdom Hearts 2 launched around the release of Advent Children, and Tifa made her series debut here in a slightly more toon-like depiction of her realistic appearance and leather suit as a movie tie-in. It's a really nice, clean design, and it is probably the most faithful inclusion costume-wise from a Final Fantasy in the series. Dissidia Operis Omnia displays her in a chibified version of her Dissidia appearance, with a cutesy 3D model and Nomura art that literally looks like a scaled down version of her fighting game artwork. Picked Logica Final Fantasy has 2D chibi artwork very reminiscent of World of Final Fantasy, displaying Tifa's original and cowgirl outfits. Her in-game 2D sprite is quite reminiscent of Final Fantasy V, whereas Final Fantasy Record Keeper establishes her in the style of Final Fantasy VI. Brave Exvius features a more advanced bit of sprite work that gives her some more height and her classic figure. Puzzle and Dragons features artwork that is surprisingly similar to the original character concept, with additional poses and slightly more expression. It also features the leather suit, which fits right in with the anime style. Final Fantasy Explorers uses a 3D model that appears to match this exact same design. Finally, one of my favourite Tifa designs, shockingly, comes in the form of Final Fantasy G-Byte, a pretty high acclaim for a mobile title. Tifa has an in-game model that looks very similar to her in the PSP era, but her in-game portrait is very high quality Nomura artwork with an ever so slightly thicker style of line art. Of course, this brings us to the release that's just on the horizon, Final Fantasy VII Remake, and in an almost strangely convenient parallel to our last episode and the simultaneous game release, Tifa's design in this game seems to follow a similar design philosophy to Jill Valentine in Resident Evil 3 Remake. To an extent, when designing a realistic Tifa for Advent Children, Square Enix gave her a new outfit entirely, but with the remake comes a design that is obviously the design of old, but modified probably more extensively than it has ever been in the past. Practicality seems to be the basis of this new look, with her skirt now featuring pleated segments to make her martial arts delivery seamless. She wears black shorts underneath with black metal plated leather gloves. The elbow pad on her arm has been replaced by a red and black leather van brace. Her legs are notably not as on display as in the past, as she wears long length black leggings, and alongside these she wears a sports bra. It's unbelievable how much rage this actually caused online, but that's the internet for you. Stop the world I want to get off. Of course, like Cloud, it's the most realistic depiction of her so far, and is littered with tiny details the closer you look at the released official renders. Check out these cute chocobo and bomb bracelets and pendants. So that's the gist of Tifa's design evolution, and it's for the most part been quite a faithful one. She's often veered off in a different direction. It's been for reasons surrounding practicality and aiding her martial arts based moveset. While I absolutely love the design from Remake, in contrast to Cloud and Sephiroth from before her, it's not my personal best design, as that award goes to the Tifa from Dissidia NT. I'm kind of shocked that I'm picking this design as I've not played any of the games in this particular series and I really don't have any attachment to the games in general. I nearly picked Nomura's original art design and I nearly picked the updated looking Advent Children, but I eventually settled on Dissidia NTs as I think it's almost a perfect blend of the two. I totally understand the decision to change up Tifa's design for Remake. The leggings especially I think are an important inclusion. It's a Final Fantasy sure, but I can't shake the idea of how ridiculous Tifa dressing like this in the Great Glacier section actually would be. But from a purely aesthetic standpoint, and quite frankly a bit of nostalgic based bias on my end, I really do want Tifa to look like the character I remember from my early teens. Dissidia achieved a massive success in the portrayal of the character in a realistic HD upscaled fashion. She looks incredibly faithful to her original design and her costume is identical to the classics. None of her martial arts looks far-fetched, despite the short skirt and giraffe neck length legs, and she looks absolutely amazing, kicking ass and punching faces. So that's it from me, but what did you think? Let me know in the comments section below and do let me know if there's any designs you think I've missed. Alternatively, hop on by to my Discord server. We're a really chilled bunch of people who talk about video games, share their own artwork, and we've even got an interesting Sonic collaboration in the works at the moment. At this time, I'd like to thank my patrons who help make videos like this possible, with a special shout out going to Glug Slade, Proggy Froggy, and Jacko. If you want to help out the channel, please head on over to my Patreon. For as low as $1, you get early access to my videos, some exclusive content such as podcasts, and a behind the scenes look at my channel. Outside of subscribing, it's the best way you can help out this channel.